Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, I am in a woodland today. I'm out for a hot tent camp, the first one of the season, so I'm super excited about it. And I'm actually using a new hot tent and a new stove. So I'm pretty excited about this camp because, as you can see, I'm not carrying a duffel bag like I normally do when I hot tent camp. This is the first time I've ever been able to actually pack an entire stove and hot tent in a single backpack, which is pretty awesome. It also weighs about a quarter of the weight. This is only around a little over 5 pounds versus my old stove, which is about 22 pounds. So a massive difference in not only the weight that I'm carrying, but the packability, because it's actually all fitting in this tiny little front pocket here, which is pretty great. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the hot tent and the stove, and I'll show it to you after. I just want to pause for a second because I want to take a moment just to appreciate what a fantastic spot this is. The sun keeps coming in and out, and I keep trying to catch it because it's just so pretty, because it lights up all the leaves and you get to see all the oranges and browns and stuff. Just a fantastic big open spot. I've actually been to this spot before, and I hung a hammock between these two trees, but that was, I want to say, about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. So it's been a while since I've been to this spot. Fantastic spot to also put a tent, because unlike the rest of the woodland, which is pretty dense, this has a really big open area which will fit this hot tent nicely. It's nice because it has this flap, which really opens up the headroom towards the back. Here it is, all pitched. So this would be kind of like storm mode. So if you didn't have the stove in, you could just use this big piece as a vestibule. But one really cool feature that, I don't know, maybe this is a feature now in hot tents, but most of them just have this Velcro piece that you stick on when you're not using it as a hot tent. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually a waterproof zipper. Here, you don't have to worry about water going through the Velcro, and then you can roll this up to actually use it as a hot tent. I really like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up now, show you all the different openings, because it isn't supposed to rain until much later tonight. So I'm gonna have it open for the evening, and then I'll close it down probably later when I go to bed. And so this opens up as a big awning, which is really cool, kind of like my backwoods bungalow, so your traditional kind of like baker style tent. I do have poles that can go with this, which I'm going to use today, or you could just use sticks if you wanted to. Despite it being November, the bugs are out in full force right now. So it's nice when it's closed up completely. This is the actual door you can use when the front awning is closed, so you can come in and out through here. So here we go. Here it is. Really airy tent. So like I think I mentioned in a post on Instagram, normally I wouldn't be able to hot tent camp until it was least freezing, because the Polish Lavoo only has one door to open to vent, and it's much smaller. You've got a vent in the front, which you can open up completely. You've got venting on the side. you've got venting under here on the back, and then if you wanted to, you could zip everything up and just vent this, which would let out a ton of heat if you wanted to use this even in the summertime, so I don't have to actually be in freezing temperatures in order to come out hot tenting. I say this with a grain of salt though, because it's not supposed to get too cold tonight, so we will see how hot it actually gets inside the tent. But yeah, with all these options, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to get it comfortable tonight. All right, time for the stove. So there it is, the complete setup. Super happy with it. So as you can see, the sun's pretty low already. So that's the only problem with autumn moving into winter. The days are starting to get really short. So sunset today is around 4:20. So I only have about an hour and 10 minutes before sunset. So I really need to get a move on and get some wood. Fortunately for me, as you can see, the area is kind of littered with wood. There's down stuff everywhere, especially that way. So I'm gonna head out, get some wood, and try to get enough for the majority of the night. It's not supposed to get that cold tonight. I think the low is 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, so very warm, so I won't need to keep the stove going all night. But because it gets dark so early, I do want to have enough that I'll at least be able to hang out tonight by the fire. Alright, so I'm not having any issues finding any wood. There's down bits like this pretty much everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and start collecting up some of these and then process it. I'm not looking for it to be too thick because it's a relatively small stove, and I didn't bring an axe or anything like that, so I'm just going to get a bunch of rounds, which I should be able to breeze through with this saw. So there's plenty of softwoods. I'm also going to be looking for big branches like this. There's a lot of oaks around, some really old ones, and so there's some massive branches that have fallen over time. But even though portions of these are rotted, some of these bits are rock hard, so I'll be able to use some nice hardwood pieces for keeping the stove a little more maintenance free tonight when I just want to pop some wood in and not worry about it for a while. So I just decided to start processing the wood here. I'm not too far from camp, but these are such big pieces. It'll be easier, instead of dragging them, I'll just process it on this nice log and then stack it and bring it back to camp. So this is going to take a little bit of time, and I don't want to mess around with the camera too much, so I'll get back with you once I think I have enough for tonight. it's exhausting. Hot tent camping is fun, but it's a lot of work. A lot of extra wood processing because the stove's so much more efficient than just burning like a normal campfire. I think I got a good bit. I was able to find a little bit larger ones that are pretty solid. May or may not be the driest. I'll baton them and split them up a little bit, but I think I have a good start. So I'm gonna go start shuttling this back to the tent. Got the last of the wood, the saw. Just in the nick of time too. The sun will be down the next 10 minutes. So as you can see, it wasn't too far of a walk. Such a pretty spot though, huh? Nice big open spot for the tent. Really like the color too. Those of you who watch the channel know with my Hilleberg tents, they're pretty much this color, this sand color. I really love it. Oh. All right, so got wood here, and then a pile back there. Honestly, don't know if that's enough. This is the first full night I'll have burned the stove. Like I said, I'm not gonna keep it going the entire night, but I haven't had it going for more than 2 hours. So yeah, I really don't know yet how efficient it'll be and how quickly it'll burn through wood. But with my old stove, that would be enough to get me through pretty much most of the night, because I'm not planning on keeping it running when I go to bed. I do need to go and get some birch to start the fire and some dry tinder to get it going, but we're pretty much there. Sunset about 5 minutes ago, so I just spent the last few minutes gathering some more branches just because I'm paranoid I won't have enough, but I think I'll be fine. Definitely more work when you're hot tenting. The rewards when we get the fire started are the best. So I'm gonna go do that now. Dial the coziness to level 10. So nice. Absolutely love hot tenting. This was actually the first kind of camp I did on this channel. Fun fact, I actually didn't even plan on making a video of that trip. I just brought a camera along to see what some footage would look like, and I ended up having enough that I said, heck, why not? And I just put it on YouTube, and I've been doing it since. So if I was in my Lavu right now, I would be absolutely boiling. This, having that vent open in the back, this vent, and then this completely open, it's just feels so comfortable. I can feel the heat, but it's not overbearing, which is really nice because it's not that cold out. Really cool. Looks like I can do 3-season hot tenting now, and even summer hot tenting, I guess, if you leave it completely open, which is super cool. All right, so it's around 5:15 now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking. The stove is working beautifully. The only bummer is, last time I used it, I actually dampened it down all the way to put out the fire, which was a huge mistake because it dirtied up the glass. It should go away. In my experience with these, as soon as you get that heat really pumping up high for a long enough period of time, it'll clean the glass completely. So I'll just wait on that. But yeah, having the glass on both the sides and the front is really nice too, because my old stove just has it in the front, so it kind of gives a nice glow to the tent as well. So I batoned some wood just to get the fire going a little bit better. That way I have a bit more control while I'm cooking. So tonight, for dinner, I've been in a soup kind of mood lately. So I'm going to be making a cabbage and cream soup. Should be pretty good. to let this just simmer for a few minutes while I wait. I brought a beer for tonight. It's a Northern Monk Citra IPA. Cheers, guys. So I'm just going to keep stoking the fire, see how hot I can get it now. This door's closed. The back door's still open because it's just too hot otherwise. But we'll see how it goes. I do really enjoy the ease of controlling the temperature. If it gets too hot, you can just open this door and it dumps all the heat really nicely. It's definitely the most versatile hot tent I've had. I think that'll do it for the soup. Alright, there it is. So this is actually a combination of a couple recipes. My mom actually sent me a recipe for a cabbage soup recently, and then I was in Waitrose the other day and they actually had a recipe for a cabbage stew, so I kind of combined the two and this is the result. The starch in the beans kind of thickens the broth and makes it more of a creamy soup. If you don't like beans, you could actually substitute and do the milk and the cream in a separate saucepan with some flour and actually thicken it that way before you add it. Or you could just add some cornstarch and that'll thicken it as well. So this is really kind of one of those perfect autumn winter meals again. Let's see how it tastes. Very hot. Oh wow, though. That broth is unreal. Creamy. Really seasoned well. Just an awesome meal. Really, really like it. Highly recommend this one. Alright, I'm going to tuck into this, enjoy my beer, stoke up the fire again, and I'll get back with you guys in just a little bit. Almost forgot. I actually brought a roll as well. Gotta have a roll when you eat soup. Yeah, just soak up the broth. That's how you know you have a good soup. So this is the temperature by the stove at the front of the tent. As you can see, it's boiling hot. So it is around 110 degrees Fahrenheit and about 45 degrees Celsius. So extremely warm, which is where I've been sitting. Obviously it would be cooler closer towards the base of the tent. So I'm going to continue to move this back. So I'm just going to place the thermometer now in the exact middle of the tent. And then probably at the base of the tent next where I'll be sleeping. Just to kind of get an idea of the temperature throughout the tent. Alright, so little temperature update. So this is the exact middle of the tent, and it is around the light. It's around 90 degrees, or a bit above 30 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's still super warm. Again, this is head height, but it kind of feels this temperature pretty much down the entire length of the tent. It's quite warm. And that's with the back door vented open and the side vents open. Alright, bed's all set up. Just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of the space. So you're at the end of the tent there. So this is a 25-inch wide pad. You could fit another 25-inch wide pad beside me and still have room between those two pads. Definitely quite the upgrade from my Polish Lviv, which, don't get me wrong, I love that tent. And I've had it for a very long time, and I've had amazing camps in it. It's kind of nice to have a tent with a floor and like proper ventilation. So I'm pretty excited about this. So the stove's going. It's a fantastic stove. The weight's incredible, the packability is incredible, but it's definitely not a lazy man stove. And what I mean by that is, if you have a wood stove at home, typically you have your vents, and then there's a grate, and then the wood goes on top of that grate. So any of the ash falls down to the bottom and you have the coals on top. If you forget about it for a while, you can throw some wood on top, close the doors, open the vents, and then it'll eventually ignite. You can't really do that with this stove, at least early on, until you have a really good coal bed, because there is no grate. So if you're lazy, like I was just a little bit ago, and I wasn't thinking about the stove, and it kind of died down. And this is before I had a really good bed of coals, which I do now. I tried to throw some wood in, but it just did not ignite very easily. Coals that had kind of gone out were at the base, and the air flows in through the bottom. It wasn't able to flow through the entire stove like it would if there was an actual grate lifting the wood above the burnt out ash. So not a fault of the stove, it's just, like I said, it's not a lazy man stove. Until you have a good bed of coals, you actually have to think about the stove, and make sure you stoke it. But once I added that oak, now I have a fantastic bed, and so I can pretty much throw things in and they'll ignite pretty easily. Pretty comfortable in here as well. I mean, it's actually a little hot right here, but yeah, not too bad. So it was around, what, 110 degrees or 40 degrees Celsius, and then in the middle around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, or 31, 32 degrees Celsius. So yeah, pretty warm. I'm actually going to take the thermometer now, just because I'm curious, and I'm going to place it on the floor in the middle, just there, just to kind of get an idea of the temp. Like I said, there's a pretty good sized vent open on the kind of near the floor in the middle of the tent, and I have the entire back open, so this will give us an idea of what the temperature is like here. I'm probably just going to hang out now here for a little while, watch the fire, maybe make a tea. But yeah, overall pretty comfortable. It's good tea. Morning. It's around 6:45. So I've been up a little bit, probably since a little before 6 actually. Just been laying in bed. Yeah, I was glad I brought down the awning. It got pretty chilly last night when the stove went out, and it rained pretty hard actually throughout most of the evening. Once I went to bed, it's eased up a little bit now. I'm kind of hoping it stops. I hate packing up in the rain. So I do have a little bit of wood left. All pretty big chunks though. So I'm just gonna try to process it down and make it work so I can get the coffee going. I could just use the Trangia, but I don't know. I'm in no rush this morning, especially with the rain. So I'll just get this
fire started in the stove and make up my coffee that way.
Alright, just got ash left, but I think I'm going to kind of get most of it out. That way I can start a clean fire that's a bit more efficient. I'm just going to kind of dig a little spot here for the ash. I'm messing around this morning. Well, no condensation, which is good.
That's pretty convenient. I just left the guys attached to the poles so I could quickly put it up. This will make packing up a little bit easier. Show you guys what I see. So the fire just went out. I finished my coffee still, but I love how open you can really get this. I closed that door last night because, like I said, I got a little chilly, but I did leave this open, which was enough to prevent any condensation on the inside of this fly. I do wish these poles were a bit longer though, because it collects a lot of water. If they were a bit longer, it would give me a bit more of a slope. You can easily kind of just lift it and it falls off the back. I don't like packing away in the rain though. I'm all ready. I'll probably have to take the puffy off though. I'll get everything packed in the bag and then even the stove, and then I'll take the tent down last, so I at least have some rain cover. All right, there's my coffee. I wonder what the shelf life for these is. I guess it's probably just until it gets bent up too bad that you can't use it anymore. All right, leave no trace as always, just kind of a dry footprint from where I was. Beautiful big open flat spot with some really nice autumn leaves. All right guys, I think that's gonna do it for this trip. Really enjoyed the new hot tent. Such a nice change from my big old heavy stove and Polish Lavu, which I'll still use because it's just an awesome tent as well. But yeah, nice to just have a lighter, bigger option. Hopefully you like the camp. For my next camp, I think I'm gonna head to Snowdonia or back to the lakes. We'll have to see what the forecast is like. Really nice autumn trip, beautiful colors everywhere. Just the kind of trip I was looking for. Crisp evening, but a nice rainy night in the tent, which is always relaxing, especially if you have a wood stove. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, share, and get outside. Later.